I thought hiding my $10.5 million trust would keep my family close, but one Thanksgiving revelation unleashed greed and betrayal I never saw coming. I'm Lila Nguyen, 29, living in Asheville, North Carolina, a city I picked for its artsy vibe and mountain views, far from the chaos of my family's drama in suburban Chicago. I work remotely as a graphic designer, mostly for indie game studios, which lets me keep a low profile. My life looks modest: a cozy one-bedroom apartment, a used Prius, and a wardrobe of thrift store finds. Nobody would guess I'm sitting on a $10.5 million trust fund inherited from my late grandfather, a Vietnamese immigrant who built a small real estate empire in the 80s. My family is a messy mix. My parents, Min and Susan, both 55, are retired teachers who live frugally and don't know about the trust. Grandpa made me promise to keep it secret until I'm 35, when I can access the principal. My older brother, Ethan, 32, is a chef in Chicago, married to his high school sweetheart, Tara, 31. They're solid, but we're not super close. Then there's my Aunt Karen, 50, my mom's younger sister, who's always been the family's chaos agent. Karen's a part-time realtor, with a knack for sniffing out money. Her son, my cousin Tyler, 27, has been in and out of rehab for opioid addiction since he was 19. I feel for Tyler, but Karen's coddling, paying his rent, covering his legal fees, hasn't helped. I've always been the quiet one, the observer. Growing up, I dodged family drama by burying myself in sketchbooks or books about typography. The trust was my secret armor, a safety net I never touched. Grandpa left it to me because he saw me as steady, unlike Karen, who blew her inheritance on bad investments, or Ethan, who never cared about money. The trust pays out $50,000 a year, which I quietly donate to local art programs or save. I didn't want anyone to know because money changes people. I learned that the hard way when a high school friend ghosted me after I paid off her car loan. But this Thanksgiving, my secret cracked open like a raw egg. I flew to Chicago for Thanksgiving, dreading the usual family circus, but hoping for a quick, drama-free visit. My parents hosted at their modest, split-level home, with its faded floral wallpaper and creaky dining table. The guest list was small: me, Ethan, and Tara, Karen, Tyler, and my parents. Tyler looked rough, gaunt, twitchy, fresh off another relapse. Karen kept hovering, refilling his plate like he was a toddler. I tried to stay invisible, nodding through Mom's stories about her book club and Ethan's rants about overpriced truffles. The trouble started after dinner. I was in the kitchen rinsing dishes when Karen cornered me. She had that fake sweet smile, the one she uses when she's fishing for gossip. "Lila, you're so put together. Remote work must pay well, huh?" I shrugged, mumbling about freelance rates. She didn't buy it. "Come on, you're living in Asheville, no kids, no debt. What's your secret?" I dodged, but Karen's eyes had that glint. Later, while I was upstairs grabbing my phone charger, I caught her rifling through my bag in the guest room. My stomach dropped. "Karen, what the hell?" I snapped. She held up my bank statement. Stupidly, I'd printed it for a meeting with my financial advisor and forgot to shred it. The statement showed the trust's annual payout. Her jaw dropped, then her face hardened. $10.5 million? She hissed like I'd personally robbed her. "You've been sitting on this while Tyler's dying?" I snatched the paper back, my hands shaking. "It's not your business, Karen. It's mine." She followed me downstairs, her voice rising. "You're selfish, Lila. You could save your cousin." The dining room went silent. Ethan looked confused. Tara's fork froze mid-air, and my parents stared like I'd grown horns. Karen spilled everything: the trust, the millions, her accusation that I was hoarding while Tyler suffered. Tyler slumped in his chair, muttered, "I don't need her money." But Karen was on a roll, tears streaming for effect. "Your family, Lila. You could pay for his rehab, a private facility, the best care." My mom's voice cut through, sharp. "Lila, is this true?" I wanted to lie, but Karen waved the statement like a flag. I nodded, throat tight. "It's Grandpa's trust. He told me not to tell anyone." Ethan laughed bitterly. "Guess you're good at secrets, huh?" Tara shushed him, but the damage was done. The room felt like a courtroom, and I was on trial. Karen kept pushing. One payment, Lila, $100,000 for Tyler's rehab. You wouldn't even miss it. I felt cornered, my heart pounding. Karen, I'm not a bank. Tyler needs help, but this isn't how it works. She scoffed, turning to my parents. See? She doesn't care about us. My dad, usually the peacemaker, looked at me with disappointment. Lila, we raised you to help family. I fled to the guest room, locking the door. My phone buzzed with texts from Ethan. You should have told me. Tara. This is a lot, Lila. Talk to us. Karen. You'll regret this. I sat on the bed, staring at the bank statement, wondering how one piece of paper had detonated my life. November 28th, December 5th, 2024. I barely slept that night, replaying Karen's words, my parents' faces, Ethan's bitterness. By morning, I booked a flight back to Asheville, cutting my trip short. I needed space to think. On the plane, I scribbled in my journal, trying to untangle my guilt from my anger. I wasn't heartless. I'd donated to addiction recovery programs before, anonymously. But Karen's demand felt like extortion, not family love. And the way everyone turned on me, that cut deeper than I expected. Back in Asheville, I called my financial advisor, Priya, who'd managed the trust since I was 21. Lila, you're not obligated to give them anything, she said firmly. Your grandfather set this up to protect you. She suggested a lawyer to draft a cease and desist if Karen kept pushing. I hesitated. Suing family felt extreme, but Karen's texts were relentless. Tyler's using again. This is on you. I blocked her number, but the guilt gnawed at me. I tried talking to Ethan, hoping he'd understand. On a tense Zoom call, he admitted he was hurt. I'd kept the trust secret. I'm your brother, Lila. You didn't trust me? I explained Grandpa's rules, how I wanted to protect our relationship from money's poison. He softened but said, Karen's not wrong about Tyler. He's bad, Lila. Maybe you could help, just a little. I snapped, why is it my job? To fix him? Ethan hung up and I cried for an hour. My parents were worse. Mom left a voicemail. We're disappointed, Lila. Family comes first. Dad sent a long email about how they'd struggled to support Karen and Tyler, how my wealth could have eased their burden. I wrote back explaining that the trust wasn't liquid, that I wasn't a millionaire in the way they thought. They didn't reply. I started second-guessing myself. Was I selfish? Tyler was family, and I could afford to help. I researched private rehabs, costing $50,000, $100,000 for 90 days. I even called one, posing as a concerned cousin, but the counselor warned that forcing treatment rarely works without the patient's commitment. Tyler hadn't even asked for my help. Karen had. By early December, I was a wreck. My therapist, Dr. Campos, helped me see the manipulation. Karen's sob story, my parents' guilt-tripping, even Ethan's subtle pressure. You're not responsible for Tyler's choices, Dr. Campos said, or your family's expectations. I decided to set boundaries. I emailed my family a clear message. I loved them, but the trust was my private matter. I offered to pay for a family therapy session to discuss Tyler's addiction, but I wouldn't be blackmailed. I hit send, my hands trembling. Then came the twist. A week later, Priya called, her voice tense. Lila, someone tried to access your trust account. My heart stopped. It was Karen. She'd somehow gotten my social security number, likely, from my bag that night, and posed as me to the bank. The attempt failed. Priya's team caught it, but Karen had crossed a line. I filed a police report, my stomach churning. This wasn't just family drama anymore. It was betrayal. December 6th, 2024, January 15th, 2025. The police report set off a firestorm. I didn't press charges yet, but the detective contacted Karen, warning her about identity theft laws. She called me sobbing, claiming it was a misunderstanding. I just wanted to help Tyler, she wailed. I hung up, done with her excuses. I sent my parents and Ethan the police report, explaining what Karen had done. I expected support. Instead, I got silence from Mom and Dad and a curt text from Ethan. "You're blowing this out of proportion." Tara, bless her, was the only one who reached out. She called, apologetic. "Ethan's torn, Lila. He knows Karen's wrong, but he feels like you're abandoning Tyler." I broke down, telling her how Karen's stunt had shaken me, how I felt like the villain for protecting myself. Tara listened, then said, "Karen's been telling everyone you're a selfish millionaire. People are buying it." My extended family, cousins, uncles started posting vague Facebook rants about greedy relatives. I deactivated my account, sick of the lies. Tyler finally spoke up, leaving a voicemail in early January. "Lila, I didn't ask Mom to do this. I'm sorry." He sounded sober but defeated. "I'm trying to get clean, but not with your money. I don't want it." I cried, relieved he wasn't part of Karen's scheme, but I didn't call back. I wasn't ready. My parents' reaction hurt the most. At Christmas, they invited Karen and Tyler to their house but didn't ask me. Mom texted, "We need space to process your choices." Choices? I'd been violated and they were siding with Karen. I spent Christmas alone in Asheville, sketching mountains and drinking too much wine. Ethan sent a gift, a cookbook, but no apology. I felt like I'd lost my family, not because of the money, but because of what it revealed about them. Karen didn't stop. She emailed my boss claiming I was unstable and hiding wealth. My boss, a chill guy named Greg, laughed it off, but I was mortified. Priya's lawyer sent Karen a cease and desist, threatening legal action if she contacted me or my employer. Again. Karen went quiet, but the damage was done. My family was fractured, and I was the outcast. The rumor mill churned. A cousin DM'd me. "Why didn't you just pay for Tyler? It's not like you're poor." I didn't reply. The narrative was set. Lila, the heartless rich girl. Only Tara and Priya knew the truth, and even they couldn't fix the rift. Started wondering if I should have paid for Tyler's rehab, just to keep the peace. But Dr. Campos's words echoed, "You can't buy their love." January 16th, July 1st, 2025, by mid-January, I was done pleading for my family's understanding. I focused on what I could control. My life, my boundaries, my peace. I hired a security firm to monitor my accounts, ensuring Karen couldn't try another stunt. Priya adjusted the trust's privacy settings, making it harder for anyone to dig into my finances. I felt safer, but the emotional scars lingered. I leaned into therapy, unpacking years of family dynamics I'd ignored. Dr. Campos helped me see that my parents' disappointment stemmed from their own guilt. They'd enabled Karen for decades, and my refusal to do the same forced them to face it. Ethan's distance was about pride. He felt emasculated knowing his little sister had millions he didn't. Tyler's addiction wasn't my burden, but I still grieved for him. In February, I made a bold move. I donated $100,000 to a local addiction recovery center in Asheville, anonymously, in Tyler's name. I didn't tell my family. It wasn't for them. It was for me. A way to honor my empathy without bowing to pressure. The center sent a thank you note saying the funds would cover treatment for 6 patients. I framed it, a quiet reminder that I wasn't the villain. I started rebuilding my circle. Tara and I grew closer, texting weekly about books and recipes, carefully avoiding family drama. She hinted that Ethan was softening, but I didn't push. My parents sent a tentative email in March, inviting me to Dad's birthday. I declined, saying I needed time. It hurt, but I wasn't ready to pretend everything was fine. Karen faded into the background, though I heard through Tara that she'd lost her realtor license after a client sued her for fraud, unrelated to me, but poetic justice. Tyler entered a free county rehab program in April, his first step without Karen's interference. I sent him a short email. "I'm rooting for you." He didn't reply, but I didn't need him to. By summer, I'd found a new rhythm. I joined an Asheville art collective, showing my designs at local galleries. I dated a kind barista named Javier, who didn't care about my bank account. My apartment felt like home again, filled with plants and sketches. The trust, once a burden, became a tool. I plan to fund a scholarship for low-income artists next year. I still think about Thanksgiving, that moment when Karen's voice cracked my world open. I miss my family, but I don't miss the version of them that demanded my soul. I've learned that wealth isn't the problem. Expectations are. I'm not hiding anymore, but I'm not shouting my truth either. I'm just Lila, living quietly, drawing my way through the mess. If my family wants back in, they'll have to meet me where I am, not where they think my money should take us.